me courtside here. First of all, that's the championship. That's the championship trophy right there. No question about it. Behind me is Kawhi Leonard warming up for this game. The difference in game 2 was the Warriors 20-01, which included an 18-0 spurt to begin the second half. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, it was the longest run in an NBA Finals games since the NBA-ABA merger prior to the 1976-1977 season. My next guest is a man who knows his NBA history. He is the commissioner of the National Basketball Association. Mr. Adam Silver, how are you, sir? How's everything?
Great, Stephen A. Thanks for having me.
How are you enjoying these finals thus far? You have a team from Canada in the NBA Finals. Put that in perspective of what it means to the NBA.
Yeah, I'm thrilled, and I think symbolically, in terms of this league being global, the fact that the finals are outside of the United States for the first time means a lot to this league, and I think it's representative of the fact that we have a league now that's made up of players, that 25% of the players from outside the United States.
Right.
I think it's special being here, frankly. I mean, you and I were just talking about it. The last finals that will ever be in this building, obviously, as the team moves on to San Francisco. So this feels special. It's a special environment. You know, we have media from around the world here. These games are being telecast in 215 countries. So it's really a global event. You can feel the big stage environment here.
Considering the global iconic brand that the NBA is and has become a long time ago, as far as I'm concerned, what does having a team from Canada in the NBA Finals do to add to that? It's so big, it almost seems like there's not much that can be added to it because the NBA is so great globally.
Well, I mean, of course, we could end up going to other countries besides the United States and Canada. I think it demonstrates, I mean, you and I were actively involved in the NBA when we expanded to Canada, and look back to 1995 when we expanded to think that now we have 13 players in the league from Canada. The fact that 1 out of 3 Canadians have watched part of the finals so far. Think about that. 1 out of 3 people in the country. The fact that on a grassroots basis, kids, boys and girls are playing basketball. So that's an indication for the league of what kind of impact we can have when we plant an actual flag in a market. So I'm not about to announce that we're putting additional teams overseas, but technology changes, transportation changes, and if we're truly going to be a global league, over time, it's inevitable that we'll expand to other places.
Just a quick question as an aside. Do you foresee expansion in the United States in terms of another NBA team from the States?
I don't foresee it at the moment. I mean, there's a bunch of great markets out there that we're not in right now, and it's something that comes up all the time. I'd say, I've said this before, we're so focused on having 30 competitive teams in this league right now that that's where all our concentration is. But at some point, we'll be looking at it.
Adam Silver, I want to get back to the Toronto Raptors for a quick second because I think about a superstar like Kawhi Leonard, and there is no question. He is a superstar, but he's one of those quiet superstars. I understand how big the NBA is and what have you, but you know what? He's like a miniature Tim Duncan. Very, very little to say. Just goes out there, grabs his lunch pail, goes to work, does a fantastic job, goes home. Do you like to see that in stars? Because, I mean, again, the players promote with their play, but still in all, their mouths do help sometimes.
Absolutely. I mean, I love when guys are authentic.
Right.
And just like Tim was authentically himself, so is Kawhi.
Right.
I mean, and when, and I think we all know, we around the league, fans know, when it seems phony, frankly, when a guy comes out and is promoting something that is just frankly not real or and is inauthentic. I think with Kawhi, as you get to know him, that's exactly who he is. And I think that's why he's such an incredibly popular player. That's why they love him in Canada. That's why they love him around the league.
Do these finals miss LeBron James? Because he did go to 8 straight. He's one of the greatest players in the world, universally recognized as that statesman for the game, ambassador for the game of basketball. Do these finals miss him?
I don't think they miss him, but I will say when you have a player at his level who's in the category of one of the greatest ever, who's been in 8 finals in a row, he's an enormous presence in this league. The great thing about LeBron is it's not like he retired. I mean, he's still essentially in his prime. He had an injury last year. It was a new situation, and I'm sure he'll be back incredibly competitive next season. So, I mean, his presence, I mean, we see it. You and I both know a little bit in the ratings. When you have a star as big as LeBron who's sort of absenced himself and is no longer playing, that there is a casual fan, a sports fan, maybe not an NBA fan, who might tune in for a player like LeBron. But look how strong this league is. Look at the number of young stars we have. And I think we owe to LeBron, I think he carried the league for a period of time. He's brought up a whole next generation of stars. And we see now that this league is bigger than any one player or certainly any team.
Adam Silver, one of the things I wanted to transition to, and I thought it was appropriate to ask you this question because few are better to answer this than you. Draymond Green made news recently because he brought up the word owner and felt like it had a negative negative connotation attached to it. Owners like Mark Cuban certainly didn't have, they had a problem with that kind of take on the matter. Where do you stand on that? How did you feel about what Draymond Green had to say about having a problem with the word owner?
I, of course, respect his point of view. If that's how he feels and that's how other players feel, I think we have to be responsive. As you know, in our league, it's the difficulty. It's hard not to say the word owner either in the sentence, because people say, who are you referring to? What I was about to say is, in our league, the formal name for our team owners is the governor. And then we have alternate governors, so that we don't technically use the name owner. The problem is it's such a popular term in terms of culture and the media that it will take a while to transition out of that name. But if people are sensitive, if players are sensitive about it, we should be looking for another title for the position. I know that in some team principals call themselves the chairman. We have the word governor. Some are the CEO of the organizations. So, terminology we see in that words come to have different meanings and different connotations. So I don't think we're locked in stone, certainly, to that label for the person who owns the team. But it's even saying the sentence makes it hard to not use that word.
One would ask, how do you do it? Because you definitely are the boss. You're the commissioner of the National Basketball Association. You can bring the hammer down when you need to, but you're incredibly fair-minded. You have a great relationship with the players. And by and large, it's because they say, hey, Adam Silver has an open-door policy. He lets everybody express themselves and speak their mind. In this day and age, in the culture that we're living in, it's not only something that you support, you absolutely encourage it. Why do you do it? How do you do it?
I do it because I think it's the right way to run a business in this day and age. And when I talk to my counterparts who run other successful enterprises, I don't think their policy is all that different. I mean, for employees, whether they're talent, as we might refer to our players, or whether they're just sort of the journeyman workers in an organization, I think in this day and age, you need transparency. You need to respect the people you're working with. You need to listen to them. That's how you can run a great business. And I think we all respect for each other in this league. And let me just add, those people formerly known as the owners, I think they deserve a lot of the credit as well, because we have a really progressive group of people in this league. And, Michael Jordan is a governor in this league. And I think, that by Grant Hill now is an alternate governor in this league. By having people like that and Steve Ballmer now joining, and Mark Cuban, as you mentioned, I should mention all of them, that have a progressive view about how you run a business, that's what enables me to have that kind of policy. So it's not just talk. So that when we sit down with players, we're able to really have a serious partnership and take into account how the people who drive this league really feel about how it's operated. And we don't agree on everything, and I'm sure Michelle Roberts would tell you that.
Yes,
she's executive director of the Player Association. But we all respect each other. Right. And so when we have disagreements, we try to keep them behind closed door. And we also try to compromise, which is something you don't see a lot of these days.
Wow. Adam Silver, deeply appreciate your time, Commissioner.
Thanks,
you so much for your business schedule. A lot more to come. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more coming up. The show is far from over. Warriors owner Joe Lacob joins us after the break, and I've got some questions about his team that you don't want to miss. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Special Sports Center edition with yours truly. Back with more in a minute.
It's a game time decision. He's gonna come in here and work with the training staff in a little bit, and we'll decide then. He's making a very strong case. That's who Clay is. He wants to play no matter what. So we'll see. Again, we'll see what the trainer's assessment is. They looked at him this morning, and they'll look at him again this evening. But he's trying desperately to be out on the floor tonight, and we'll have to weigh all the factors and make the decision. We probably won't let him make the decision.
I don't know if I would let him play. Who's that out there? That would be Andrew Bogut warming up on the basketball coach. Played a good game last night, and that's DeMarcus Cousins right next to him. Played a big-time game in Game 2. Expected to be a pivotal component in Game 3. But why listen to me about the Golden State Warriors when I've got one of its owners himself? The one and only Joe Lacob is right next to me. How are you, sir? Finally got you on camera with me. How you doing? How you doing?
Great.
How concerned are you tonight about Klay Thompson?
I'm concerned. It's a game time decision, as they've said. I mean, I'm not sure he's going to play or not, to be honest with you. The doctors would like to hold him out, certainly.
If he doesn't play, I know how much you believe in your players. I know how much you believe in his team. But if Klay Thompson doesn't play tonight, how worried are you going to be about the outcome?
Well, our team does have a way of pulling these things out and a way of performing under pressure. We still have a lot of talent. We're down a lot, no question, a lot of shooting. So it could be a tough game. And if we lose, we lose. And we just have to come back and win it anyway.
So many people don't realize how much owners know about the game of basketball. I talk to you a lot. I know that you know basketball. So be a coach for me for a second. You don't have Klay Thompson. What do you believe Joe Lacob is going to be the key to your team being victorious tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously we have to find enough scoring. We're down two of the greatest shooters in the world. Two of the greatest shooters in the world. That's a lot of scoring. So Draymond has to have a big game. DeMarcus Cousins has to follow up that game the other day with even a better game. I think that's what's got to happen. And we got to free up Steph to get enough shots.
Have you found yourself scratching your head at all of these injuries that have taken place? I can't blame anybody for it, but it's shocking. You got like 5 guys to be worried about, 2 that are out, and 5 guys to be worried about. And Cousins, Iguodala, obviously Klay Thompson now. How shocked are you by that?
Not shocked. I mean, we've had, to be honest with you, over the last 5 years, not that many injuries. We've had a few. But really, we've been pretty healthy. You've seen how teams like, what was it, one day the Clippers a number of years ago had 2 of their best guys go down in the same game.
Right.
So that stuff can happen at any moment. You have to be prepared for it.
I'm not going to get into you about any particular players. You ain't here to talk about free agency. We talk about the NBA Finals.
Good.
But I'm going to look out for you, Joe. But here's the question for you, though. When you see the kind of things that are transpiring with his team right now, how does that affect your mindset as an owner going into free agency, recognizing the importance of having a total team as opposed to a few superstars in order to deliver the goods?
Look, we have a very deep team, and our guys believe that they can win regardless. They're going to win no matter what. And so, you just don't know what's going to happen. And in free agency, who knows what's going to happen there either. I think we're still going to have a good team regardless of what happens in free agency next year, and we're prepared to do whatever it takes.
To me about what Klay Thompson means to this team overall.
Well, he's one of my absolute favorites. I mean, I just love this guy. He's our first draft choice that we made as an organization, our first pick.
Right.
And he's been spectacular. Number 11, Kawhi was 15 in that draft. Hell of a draft, right? So I think he means a lot. He's a not only great offensive player, but a tremendous defensive player, great size, great attitude, fits with the organization so well. We love him.
Could you speak about what he and Steph together mean to this team in terms of chemistry, in terms of being able to attract people just to want to come? It's not just because of their shooting ability, their makeup, who they are as people. Talk about that for a second.
Well, honestly, those guys fit together so well, Splash Brothers. They're just a great pair. They make up for each other's whatever deficiencies they have. They get along great, and they welcome new guys to the team like Kevin or whoever in the last few years. So that culture that those 2 guys have set has been unbelievable in terms of making this organization successful.
Game 3, Game 4, if necessary, a Game 6. Your last games inside the Oracle. Arguably the best home court spot in the entire league for the last several years. Actually, some would say it's not even to be disputed. What are the emotions like for you knowing this is going to be the last run before you move over to San Francisco?
Well, I've been coming to games here for 25 years, and I've seen a lot of bad times and a lot of, obviously, recently good times. It's a great home court advantage. We've designed the new arena in San Francisco. Frankly, the lower bowl is very, very similar. We tried to keep the ceiling height really low to make it loud. This is a great place, but on the other hand, it's for the oldest arena in the NBA, and our fans deserve better. They deserve a lot of great food choices and other options, and we're trying to give them to that in this new arena.
Now, I'm hearing a lot about this arena. I'm hearing this $1.5 billion. I'm hearing this state of the art. I'm hearing even though it only seats less than 20,000, I mean, it's going to exceed Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. It's something special to behold. Brag about that new arena for me for a second.
Well, I mean, look, we spent 7 years, looked at every arena in the world, and basically you have to understand something. From day one, our mandate was basketball first. That's not the way other buildings are. Concerts, hockey, whatever. No hockey. I mean, hockey can be played there, but that's not the goal. It's designed as a basketball venue to be perfect. It's also designed for concerts as a secondary. It's also in San Francisco, right on the waterfront.
Right.
5.5 acre park right next door. Food options, obviously transportation to the arena is great. And so we think it's going to be a fantastic venue that people are going to grow and love.
I've talked to you. I know how competitive you are. Have you talked to this team about making sure they close out their time at the Oracle the right way?
Well, I think I don't have to say that.
Okay.
It's obvious, right?
But that doesn't mean it would stop you from saying it, though.
I mean, obviously. I don't have to say it, though. Steph Curry, in particular, right, has made it a big point. He's very tied into the Oakland community. We want to do this the right way. We'd like to win and send this arena off in the right way. So that's definitely true.
Are you worried tonight about them keying on Steph to a point where he's so great? He's so great as a shooter. He's so great as a player. My attitude is, you know what? Some big bodies, I'm going to lean on them a little bit extra. I'm going to slap them a little bit harder. I mean, I'm scared for Steph tonight. Am I justified in feeling that way, Joe Laker?
He's slapped around a lot in games, and I'm not going to say he's been unfairly officiated, but I'm not so sure he gets the calls that some other players do. And the truth is, he's going to have a tough night here. They're going to be keying on him, no doubt about it. But he's tough. He's a lot tougher than people think. And, I know you did your top 5 this morning in
yes.
the NBA. First Take, I watch First Take every day. You guys are fantastic.
Thank you.
And the truth is, I believe Kevin and Steph are the 2 best players in the world, 1A and 1B.
So you had a problem with me having LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis in between? Steph at 5 and Kevin Durant at 1? Why?
I did. They're great players. But I believe these 2 guys are the best players in the world.
Okay. I can't argue with that. So prediction tonight, sir?
What's that?
Prediction.
No, I'm not going to make a prediction. I'm not going to make a prediction because, let's just say I'm optimistic. No matter what, we seem to figure out a way to win. We're going to do whatever we can. And if we do happen to lose the game because we're shorthanded tonight, guess what? We're going to come back in Game 4, and we're going to come back in Game 5, and we're going to try to still win this thing at Oracle in Game 6.
Last question for you. Do you think we'll see Kevin Durant this series?
I do. Not tonight, but I do.
This series?
I'm serious as a heart attack.
Joe Laker. Appreciate you. Thanks. You heard the owner. I expect